Go upstairs. Will you
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Tonight we're speaking from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Text 22, concerning the discussions of Prithu Maharaj and the four Kumaras. I'll just read the Sanskrit. Sa Shradhaya Bhagavad Dharma Charyaya Jigjasa Yatmika Yoga Nishtaya Yogaishvara Prasanaya Cha Nityam Punya Sarva Katayan Puyaya Cha. Translation. Attachment for the Supreme can be increased by practicing devotional service. Inquiring about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, applying Bhakti Yoga in life, worshipping the Yogeshvara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by hearing and chanting about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these actions are pious in themselves. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Yogeshvara is applicable to both the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his devotees also. In Bhagavad Gita, this word occurs in two places. In the 18th chapter, Krishna is described as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is the master of all mystic powers. Yogeshwara is also described at the end of the 6th chapter. This Yuktatama indicates the topmost of all yogis, the devotees, who can also be called Yogeshwara. In this verse, Yogeshwara Upasana means to render service to a pure devotee. Thus, Narottam Das Thakur says, without serving a pure devotee, one cannot advance in spiritual life. Prahlad Maharaj also has said that one should take shelter of a pure devotee who has nothing to do with this material world, but is simply engaged in devotional service. By serving him only, one can transcend the qualitative material condition. In this verse, it is recommended that one serve the lotus feet of the topmost yogi or the devotee. To serve the topmost devotee means to hear from him about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To hear the glories of the Supreme Personality from the mouth of a pure devotee is to acquire a pious life. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that without being pious, one cannot engage in devotional service. To become fixed in devotional service, one has to become completely cleansed from the contaminations of the material modes of nature. For work in devotional service, the first item is one should accept a bona fide spiritual master, and from the bona fide spiritual master, inquire about one's transcendental occupational duties, sadhama, and follow in the footsteps of great saintly persons, devotees. These are the instructions given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. The conclusion is that to increase attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to accept a bona fide spiritual master and learn from him the methods of devotional service and hear from him about the transcendental messages and glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this way, one has to increase his conviction about devotional service. Then it will be very easy to increase attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Saraya Bhagavad Dharma Archaya Jignashayat Yatmika Yoga Nishtaya Yogeshvaro Pasanaya Chanityam Punya Sarva Kataya Punyaya Cha. Attachment for the Supreme can be increased by practicing devotional service, inquiring about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, applying Bhakti Yoga in life, and worshiping the Yogeshwara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by hearing and chanting about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these activities are pious in themselves. Om Aganam Timirandasya Ganam Ganam Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Dena Tajmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakapa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Be'evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavi Guru. Okay, so thank everybody for coming. This Krishna consciousness is very special and unique. In everything that we are exposed to, all kinds of philosophy, different understandings, different types of pious activity or religious activity. Krishna consciousness is on the top of everything. Why? You see Krishna consciousness, who else will give you Prabhupada? Prabhupada himself is a proof of Krishna consciousness that it works and that is for every man. Krishna consciousness for every man. All of this material society is conditioned to the modes of nature. They think they're the body. When you're dead, you're done. This is the civilization. It's the forefront of knowledge. Because even by experiment, you cannot find Krishna by your technology. Time is running out, you have to leave the body. The body is not made by anyone, the body is made by Krishna. The planet isn't made by anyone. The planet is made by Krishna. How can you get out of it? If you don't believe in Krishna, how can you get out of it? You're forced to face the body. You're placed in the body. How come you're placed in the body? You're placed in the body by the law of karma. The supreme law of karma. People talk, but the law of karma has the last word, the final word. And the law of karma determines where you're going to the next body. If you're a Krishna conscious person, like you're given the opportunity, then you don't have to go to a material body. You're finished with material energy. Why? Material energy is a lot of miseries. Isn't that a fact? Life with trying to be happy means it's miserable. If it wasn't miserable, you wouldn't be trying to be happy. Like in the spiritual world, people are not trying to be happy in the spiritual world. The spiritual world is full of ananda, full of ecstasies, full of unlimited pleasures and happiness, unlimited. And that's what the living entity is meant for, that, to be in the spiritual world, not to be in the material world. But why has God made the material world? Well, you have free independence. As a living entity, you're independent. You can go anywhere you want to go. That's Krishna's freedom. And so if Krishna kept everybody in the spiritual world, you can't go nowhere, I don't want you to go nowhere. Then people will become upset with the spiritual world, that Krishna doesn't allow them freedom. So you can't have your cake and eat it too, You want freedom and you want Krishna, Just like it described the demigod, they're bound to Krishna. And the advanced pure devotees, they're locked up into Krishna. That's their freedom. In the material world, so-called freedom, that's the bondage. Your so-called freedom is a bondage because you're exposed to bad elements. Prabhupada described, the bad elements are around. There's the mode of ignorance, tamagun, there's the mode of passion. There's a mode of goodness. So these modes are like you can get involved even if you don't know. If you don't know, you can become infected actually by the mode of ignorance. If you don't know this philosophy of remaining in the mode of goodness, then the mode of passion can also attack you and make you feel, the mode of passion will make you feel like you're wasting time. And you need money and you need security and you need so much things. So it'll make you feel like spiritual life is like wasting your time a little bit. The time you take for spiritual life, you could be developing your material life. That's the mode of passion. It's foolishness. And the mode of ignorance, that's foolishness from beginning to end. The mode of ignorance makes us feel like we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to find anything. We just sit around and rot, Right? That's the mode of ignorance, Just drink or something and forget everything, sit on the corner. Everything will go away, And the mode of passion is wrapped up in that material happiness is going to make me feel ecstasy, Material life and happiness doesn't make anybody feel any ecstasy. Doesn't make anybody feel any ecstasy. The senses get so, happy to sing, but that's temporary. What you really want is that happiness that does not go away. You really want that happiness that increases more and more every day. You really need that happiness because you really need that to do the devotional service. That happiness comes out of love, like it's described here, attachment. We hear so much about detachment, But Krishna consciousness is mostly attachment, right? If you're attached to the devotees, you're attached to the temple, you're attached to the deities, you're attached to devotional service, you'll become Krishna conscious due to attachment. If you're attached to Krishna, you'll become detached automatically from everything non-Krishna. That's how Prabhupada taught us. Prabhupada is a good example. One person from India. But he changed the entire world because he has a better understanding than people do. What are people understanding? What is it? I'm the body, that's all. And that's not a fact, actually. It's very tricky. How you're not the body, that's very tricky. Because the body and the subtle body and the gross body is resting on the spirit soul. So if the material, if the subtle body is contaminated with material ideas and material ways of thinking, then the body will also become conditioned by that way of thinking. So in Krishna consciousness, we train the mind how to think of Krishna and how to think of devotional service, but you cannot think of it automatically. I mean, mechanically. Just like somebody chant around Hare Krishna, and they don't get anything out of it. Some devotees, right, have been devotees for a long time and they still haven't made any progress. So there's something else going on there. What it is this contamination that we have that have to be removed. If we say somebody go to the hospital, they say, I'm okay. Okay, so how are you in the hospital? You go to the hospital because you're sick. So when we come to Krishna consciousness, we don't come like purified in the beginning. I'm coming. No, you have to see what the impurities are. That's what Prabhupada taught us. Prabhupada didn't inflate our ego. Oh, you're doing very nice, you're doing very nice. Prabhupada said, this, you have this difficulty, you have that. You have to go past this, you have to go past that. If you're going on in Krishna consciousness and you don't know what your faults are, you're going to get hit with them anyway. And then when you get hit with them, it's unexpected. You say, oh man, what's going on? So Krishna consciousness is not a show thing, like I'm looking very nice, I come to the temple. It's a serious business about purification, about studying these literatures. Look at this one Srimad Bhagavatam, this one verse I'm talking on, right? Look how big the book is, right? And there's 60 volumes. So there's a lot of information have to be digested by you. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can chant for you. Yeah. Prabhu, can you chant my rounds for me? Nobody can come to the temple for you. Prabhu, how was it at the temple? It was nice. It was nice. Where were you? So devotional service, we have to do it for ourselves. The only problem, we have to find out our own impurities. This is the part that we don't like to face. But this is what we have to face. Devotional service actually is like a fire of purification. Just like Sita, she jumped into the fire. And the god Agni brought her out of the fire. The same way we have to jump into the fire of purification. What is the purification? Well, we have to become purified from the false identity we have with the material body. We have a false identity with the body. And because the body represents us and the mind represents us. And so it's not the, Prabhupada said it's not false. The body is a reality, the subtle body is a reality. But due to, we cannot see the past life. But the past life is very important in this life because the past lives brought you to this life. Your past life with Krishna brought you to this life with Krishna. So the journey continues. You just didn't begin now. In the Nectar Devotion, it described that devotional service is a continuation from your past life existence, what you wanted. You wanted Krishna, you wanted the opportunity to become Krishna conscious, you wanted the association with devotees, and that's what Krishna is giving you. But we cannot take it, it's just for my purification, for my happiness. Devotional service will bring you a lot of happiness, because love is like that. Love and ecstasy is the same thing. It described that yogis, they try to get into samadhi, right? But actually, love of God is samadhi. Not simply I'm feeling I'm not this body, I'm merging with the Brahmajyoti, right? When we come to Krishna consciousness, we're going beyond what the Gyanis are talking. We're going beyond what the yogis are doing. And we're going all the way to what the great devotees are doing. And we're not getting caught up in the stumbling blocks of, say, we come to Brahman realization, Brahmatmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, iti Shabditi. Right? So these stages have to be realized. First, Brahman realization. When somebody is Brahman realized, Prabhupada said, they have no bodily identity. Their bodily identity is erased. Brahman realization. That's why you can understand all living beings are the same in quality. Therefore, you can become a friend of every living entity because every living entity is part of Krishna. This is Brahman. When one comes Brahman realize, he gets to realize all of this. So we don't get stuck in Brahman realization. Although many people in the world, they would be satisfied, oh, I'm Brahman realized, that's it. No, we go further. Paramatma realization. This is the next step. Brahmatmeti, Paramatmeti. Paramatmeti, that is on the level of the guru, who has realized what is the Paramatma. Paramatma is a personal form of God. Brahmajyoti is like impersonal. Paramatma is personal. That's your friend, your guide, your lover, your caretaker, your everything like this, Paramatma, who's been always taking care of you all the time. And so after Paramatma realization, then one can gradually approach this Krishna realization, uh, Bhagavan realization, whereas God has some activity. If God have no activities, right, what are you loving? Nothing. Observe it. When you pray to God, you don't know what God is. What are you worshiping? Your ideas about God? But your ideas about God could be wrong. That's why we take shelter of the Guru, the pure devotee, like it's described in this verse. If we try to do it without that, we're going to lose out. You're disrespecting Krishna. Krishna says do it like that, and you say, I don't know, I want to do it my own way. That's why we're in the material world, because we're like children who are, some of us are, dull-headed. And of course, the false ego is what's driving this whole contamination. You're the body, you're better than others, you're a big guy, you're on and on. So it's a contamination. It has to be removed. There's no other way to do it. We cannot fake that we're enlightened in front of Krishna. Krishna knows everything. So we have to gradually follow what the pure devotees are giving in parampara. And it's like medicine, medicine is not only going to taste nice. Some good medicine, right? It tastes horrible. First, you come to Krishna and you say, I'm giving 5. And then Krishna says, but really, we're expecting 100. we're really thinking of big numbers, So when you come to Krishna consciousness, you think you only have to give a little bit to Krishna, but Krishna is interested in the whole package. When you surrender, then Krishna will give you the realization. So Krishna deals with us like that. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. And this means in the beginning that we have to learn it from someone else. We might find it in a lecture, we might find it in a book, but ultimately we have to find someone else who is more dedicated, more realized, more surrendered, more closer to the attainment, what we're looking for. That is all. But that requires humility. If there's no humility, then we'll never find anyone who knows more than us. That's why those persons, like myself, who took shelter of Srila Prabhupada, we actually learned something. But people who follow what they want to follow, their people, all this time, different things, you end up, trying to cheat Krishna, you get nothing. So Krishna is testing everyone. What's the test? What's the degree of your sincerity? How much do you really want to know? And how much you really want to advance? There's different groups of people. If you stay in the group that's not advancing, Haribo, everything will be nice, right? But to go further, you might find only 1 or 2 devotees are going further, right? So you have to, you cannot give an excuse. Our day to leave the body is approaching us, right? So we cannot give an excuse why we cannot do it, right? The time is yours. The opportunity is there. You could make the surrender easy. You have the good association. And most of all, you have the guidance of Srila Prabhupada. We should not take Srila Prabhupada like an ordinary person. Because if you observe Srila Prabhupada, he does everything with nothing. He's like a mystic person. Wherever he goes, everything manifests for him, right? I witnessed those things personally, right? When I was with Srila Prabhupada, when he walked, it seemed to me like he floated off the ground. I can't figure it out up to today. And Prabhupada had a presence that when he said something, it could go right to your heart. and change everybody just by his presence alone. So we're all in the blind, in the dark. But as long as we have good association with these pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada, his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta, these persons, they don't have to be there physically in the body. They had their pastimes and they gave everything to their disciples. So they're living in the hearts of the disciples. So they're not gone anywhere. Persons like this. So we can aspire to meet advanced devotees and surrendered devotees and very nice personalities. And by their association, we can become attached more. We can become more attached. If you just want your attachment with Krishna and you don't not so attached to the devotees, you wouldn't make any progress because that's not the spiritual world. It's not like that. That's like either the Brahma Jyoti or the material world. But you have to realize that the spiritual world is yours. That's your home. You belong there. It's not something that is kept away from you. It's very easy to get into it. It may take some time. But for persons who are familiar with it, it will be very easy. But you have to become purified from the false ego. Like I said before, the false ego keeps us thinking that we belong to these people, or we belong to this planet, or we belong to the material world. But when you actually look at it, you don't belong to anything like that. You belong to Krishna in the spiritual world. And our sufferings in the material world, well, birth, old age, disease, and death. We've heard it so many times. And these are the real problems. We try to get around it. Nobody talks about old age because everybody tries to forget that. And nobody talks about death because everybody is trying to avoid that. But these are the facts of the material world. Actually, there's nothing to be afraid of, nothing, because you're in the lap of the Supreme Personality. And you shouldn't have any fear. All fear goes away. All kinds of material desires become vanquished when one is in devotional service. The thing is that if you try to fight with material desires, fight like this, then you'll lose. But if you take to surrendering to Krishna and become purified, then material desires will become vanquished. Then you'll be able to advance. So the key in devotional service is the bona fide spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're both working together. The spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master, is Krishna's representative on this plane of existence. Because just like Prabhupada, he can show what to do by a good example, you cannot teach about ecstasy, you have to have it. You cannot teach about it, you have to have it to experience it. There's no teaching about it. So the great saints, realized souls, when they talk about ecstasy, we just have to do it ourselves to appreciate when it develops within us. The thing is, the process, the purificatory process, will develop that ecstasy. It will develop that ecstasy that we're looking for. And by the purification, purifying the gross body simply by eating prasadam. This is what prasadam does. You eat the prasadam, tastes very nice, everything, but it purifies the gross body. Very simple. And to purify the subtle body, Krishna says, just think of me and become my devotee. How difficult is that? Krishna said, just think of me. Manmana bhagavan, just think of me. So how can you think of something, how can you think of somebody on and on? Well, you can do that if you have love for that person. If you have no love for that person, you wouldn't be able to think of them. So similarly, Krishna exposes us to love for Srila Prabhupada and love for advanced devotees, and that's the way we find out about it. That's the actual way that we find out about it. Because things like this, there's no book. You can't put it in a book. Book talks about it. But you can capture it in a bottle. You have to develop it your own self by, like I said before, focusing on whatever bad qualities that we have. We have to find those. Nobody wants to find if they have bad qualities, right? But we would like to find if we have good qualities. If somebody tells you, oh, your qualities are so nice, then we feel good about that. Thank you. But if somebody says, you might have some bad qualities you have to work on, then, oh, that's depressing for us. But actually, that is a good thing. If we can find whatever fault we have, then that's a good thing. And sometimes Krishna arranges that. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. Krishna arranges you, oh, look at this bad fault here. That's the grace of Krishna. And then you can go through the fire. Just like when we lived in the temple with Srila Prabhupada in devotional service, it was so ecstatic being with him all the time. But Prabhupada would chase you out of the temple to go and distribute books and do Harinam. Prabhupada told us that you all like to just come up here and stick up with me all the time. So he used to chase us out to distribute books and do the Harinam. And Prabhupada said, if you do these things for the service of the Guru, that's actually being with the Guru. But if you just try to stick up there with the Guru and doing nothing, then that's only what you like. But we had to sacrifice going out, talking to strangers, giving books, giving magazines like that, what Prabhupada wanted. So it wouldn't be something you would want, it would be something that Prabhupada would want. And so you did it for Prabhupada. And then you become purified because you're selfless. It's not your thing, it's not your desire. You shouldn't be worried about if Krishna is going to hold everything together. You're just concerned with your part and put your service there. And then Krishna will take care of the big things like spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Which is the world is a necessity for this because practically everybody, 90%, thinks they're the body. And so the whole world is divided up into foolish people, divide the world based on the body concept of life. Prabhupada came to change that. The first time I ever heard that, you're not the body. What a liberating statement. Before that, everyone tell you you're the body, you're the body. When you're the body, you think you're going to die, right? How happy you're going to be? Prabhupada said that material life is like I'm going to get hanged, and they ask me, you want something to eat the last meal? I'm going to get hanged, so how am I going to enjoy? So people make it like nothing's going to happen for them to enjoy. But you're going to get hanged. You have to leave the body. And even if you're in the body, you can get sick anytime if you don't take care of the body properly. And so the Krishna conscious movement, by the grace of pure devotees, is perfect. The prasadam, the deity worship, because like I said before, most of the world is impersonal. Their God they don't know who the God is. So we should be very happy that we know who God is, we know what he does, we know how he has a good time, he's very attractive. Just like if you're going to bring the children to this temple, you say, we're going to the temple. My grandchildren will say, we're going to the temple. They're ecstatic about going to the temple. Unfortunately, when I was small, I was in the church. When they say go to church, I get depressed. So there's a big difference, very big difference. Because with Krishna, you can become free very quickly and become happy and blissful very quickly. The only thing that's stopping that bliss and ananda, as Prabhupada would say, there's something that we're doing wrong. So we just have to investigate what is it actually that is stopping me from being that pure devotee that I really am in my heart and that I really want to be. It's a little obstacle, false ego, but it makes like it's a big bad obstacle, it's a small obstacle you can overcome by study, by understanding it properly, by good association. Two things we come to the temple for, we come to the temple to see the deities in their beautiful dress, but we also come to the temple to see the devotees also. Devotees are a part of Krishna consciousness, And as soon as your attitude towards the devotees is very blissful and very wonderful, Krishna will recognize you as his devotee. And Krishna will very quickly rescue you from whatever difficulties you may have. So the devotees and Krishna work together. They're not separate entities. And when you learn that, then become purified, you can enter into the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, everyone is your loving friend. But we can't say that about the material world. Right? There's a lot of hate, there's a lot of envy, a lot of jealousy. The whole world is covered by those things. So, by Krishna's grace, We can get access to the actual information about how to return to the spiritual world um, gradually. The spiritual world is here also. Just like you come to the temple, actually, this is the spiritual world. You've already entered into the spiritual world. But we have to realize we've entered into. That's by Krishna's grace. We're getting the perfect knowledge, the perfect information. And that's not something that came about. That's been going on for millions of years in the Vedic culture. So Prabhupada said this is not the first time that the Vedic culture came to the rescue of the world. They're always being rescued by the Vedic culture. So we should take it that is our responsibility. It's not just Prabhupada's responsibility and his disciples. It's our responsibility also. We have to take it up. How are we going to become purified? We have to take up a service. For Krishna killed Jagai and Madai, he had the Sudarshan. So Lord Chaitanya is also violent. He has the weapons. And the weapons of the holy name and the devotional service is also a part of Lord Chaitanya's weapons. He uses the devotee to increase our devotional service, increase our realization, and destroy the demonic tendency. So we're not just like you get initiation from a bona fide spiritual master. It doesn't mean that you're liberated. What it means is that you have an opportunity to become realized, and that opportunity, we should be very enthusiastic to take that and get involved with chanting and purifying the mind. If you don't purify the mind, the contamination in the mind is going to grow. It grows. If you don't, just like if you have a garden, if you don't take care of the weeds and stuff that are growing, you have to be conscious of things that can destroy the plant. So devotional service is very tender in the beginning. You're growing it. You have to be very careful to keep it secure from offenses. As long as you have love for devotees and Krishna, you wouldn't make any offense. That's the thing. So our love for devotees protects us from making offenses to them. You can't go to the spiritual world if you're offensive to devotees. That's the only requirement, Krishna. And as long as you love his devotees, you can go anywhere. You can come to the spiritual world, no problem. But it requires the purification. We should not think that I've chanted so much rounds now, I've done so many years in devotional service, I should be seeing Krishna right away. It's not going to happen like that, because the purification is not depending on our how we're thinking. We have to accomplish it. Just like if you don't, if you go for your driver's test, if you fail the driver's test, they tell you have to take it over again. So devotional service is like that. You get opportunity to do it. And you should do it all the way. You shouldn't just go to Madhyamadikari. You should go all the way to Mahabhagwan. We should have that mindset, not settle for, okay, I'll settle for being a Madhyamadikari. That's nice. No. You have to go further, and you shouldn't remain just a Kanishta Adhikari. You have to go further. You have to dig deeper. You have to make more surrender. Check into your heart. Check in the qualities. Every other devotee is an opportunity for you to become better and develop better quality. Prabhupada said, even a pure devotee is becoming more and more purified. So we cannot come to a point, oh, I'm purified already. Right? And we have to keep pushing. And then when Krishna sees our sincerity, then he'll reciprocate with us. We have to be loving persons to devotees. That's why we're being devotees. Not simply, if you don't do that, the false ego will begin to tell you, well, you're better than that other devotee. Look at my sari, look at my dhoti. My dhoti is nicer. And then it gets into who beats nicer madanga, who's a better, and it can get false. You got to be careful. First, we're devotees. First. And then after that, we can serve in so many capacities. We can be nice pujaris. So we have to have the quality of a devotee to do the service. Else if you're a pujari, if you don't have the good quality, what will you think? I'm a big pujari. I know Krishna is me and him is closer than anyone. So if you have a nice talent for singing and madongas and all this stuff, then you'll think I'm a great singer. And then you lose out because Krishna is not looking for singers, right? He's not looking for pujaris. He's looking for devotees. And because a devotee can do anything. Prabhupada said that Krishna can give a pure devotee anything, just like he's practically done. Prabhupada, he's everything. Before, people didn't know this much about India, but now in the world, people are getting to know more, and people become more realized. That is the gift of Srila Prabhupada, and that is the gift of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so, I'd like to stop here and get some questions from the devotees and anything. And yes, Prabhu?
The only question to the name you brought from Prabhupada, I don't have the meaning. If you can explain the name of the name, that helps me to connect.
The meaning of what?
Your name.
My name?
Prabhupada given you.
I was initiated in 1975 by Srila Prabhupada. And yeah, when we were all coming up in a line, coming up for our names, and then when it came to me, Srila Prabhupada said, he looked back, actually he looked back and said, your name is Bhusara. And everybody broke up into laughing. And he said that Bhusara means that the king. It's a name for Lord Ramachandra and Lord Shiva. Means the king of the earth, the Boloka. But the thing is that a book could never give you what a pure devotee can. This is the thing. And although we read books, we still have to find out what is in pure devotees that makes it work. So there's a secret involved with it. It's not like Krishna has his secrets. If you want to find out about them, then he'll reveal them to you. But Krishna does have his secrets about how to become realized. Sometimes we are very intellectual and we have a nice brain, but it doesn't face Krishna. It doesn't matter if you're smart or anything like that. We're very good looking, we have very nice education. These things don't matter to Krishna at all. And you may think things matter to other people, but how come it doesn't matter to Krishna? He doesn't care for it. He just cares for the devotional, the love. And that's very intelligent. That's a lesson for us too. Like Krishna, we're also should be looking for the love too, and not just the external things. And that'll really make us happy. The thing is that the Krishna conscious movement philosophy is not Prabhupada's philosophy; it's Lord Krishna's philosophy, and therefore it's perfect. And we just have to follow it and become happy by doing it. How you become happy? There's no happiness without love, is there? There's no happiness without love. Love and happiness is the same thing. So, and then we can make all the progress. Yes, Prabhu?
So my question is, in many of Prabhupada's books, this he describes like in the Srimad Bhagavatam it says he says a dark colored man was attacking the cow. Okay? This is the dark colored man.
Yeah.
And like even in Method of Devotion, I think there's a thing that says this black person was doing something bad.
Yeah.
So I used to attend the Cleveland Sunday Love Feast, which was in Mother Krishna Nandini's home, and she was a black body woman. And I've asked her this question, and I don't remember what she answered.
Well, the fact is like
So, what is your take on that?
the fact is like well, you know, everybody's contaminated, but we do see all of this. Well, we do see all of this contamination playing out, you know, with especially peoples that are not really connected to the Vedic knowledge. So that is what we notice. But it's our duty, it's our responsibility to help persons. You know, that's our responsibility to give the education, to give the knowledge. So that's Lord Chaitanya's take on it. But you know, we advise everybody the same way that you're not the body and make a surrender and come to that transcendental platform. So everybody. Okay, so any other question? Everybody's going back to garden? Eh? Okay, all glory to Shilo Prabhupada, Nita Nita, Haribo. Back to garden.
It's a wonderful class given by Bhusara Prabhu. We are very enlightened. We are very fortunate to have this association. So let's give him a big round of applause and Haribol to him.